Hey, what's going on, everybody? Gaming Diva here, and apparently, codemonkey had put out another video. So, if you saw my last video about my thoughts, whew, my thoughts, and on like Unity's changes to their pricing and how that's all going to work, codemonkey put out a new updated video, and I guess Unity has rolled back some things to make it more digestible, and I guess so they won't lose a lot of indie game studios, but at the same token to make a profit off of those indie game companies who have seen major success, such as Genshin Impact and many others. But without further ado, before we get off into today's video, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I'm on a road to 1K subscribers. Help me out, please, and thank you. If you can, hit the subscribe button. It's free. Please and thank you. Leave a like. But yeah, let's see what codemonkey has to say in this video. Make sure you guys subscribe to codemonkey and go back to his channel, watch the full video as well. But let's see what codemonkey has to say.
Hello and welcome, I'm your codemonkey. Okay, so we finally have an official Unity update. There is a blog post which contains all of the details, alongside a really huge FAQ answering tons of questions, and a nice interactive calculator. And I have to say, as soon as I read the update, I was genuinely quite shocked, and I mean that in a very positive way. And this is exactly the reason why, beginning with the next LTS version of Unity. So that means no retroactive changes, nothing applies to games that are already out, or games coming out in the future that are made with the current or any previous Unity LTS. Now this is huge, this is the main thing that a lot of people rightfully railed against, and like I said, I'm genuinely—
Wait, hold up, so is the loophole, is the loophole is to stay on the older LTS version on Unity? That might be a loophole. That might be a loophole. But it seems like I said, they are just like, oh crap. Yeah. Anyway, let's continue. But runtime fee policy will only apply beginning with the next LTS version, that's long-term support version of Unity, shipping in 2024 and beyond. So whatever their next LTS version that's coming out, it might not be in January. It might be later on in January, since they said specifically January, but it might not be January 1st unless the next version of the LTS is coming out. So that means, guys and girls, it's currently working on your games, change your LTS version. Change your LTS. Maybe that might be the loophole, but you never know with these huge companies, man. You never know. Anyway.
I'm very positively shocked. I definitely did not expect them to roll back this part when this whole thing started. Basically, my assumption was that Unity desperately needed to get some money from the likes of Genshin Impact and Marvel Snap. So those are the games that are making hundreds of millions of dollars and been out for many years.
What did I just say?
The only way to get money from those would be to make the fee apply retroactively, basically changing the terms after the fact, which—
So basically, since they're already big and blown up and, like you said, made millions of dollars, they're probably going to capture. They're probably trying to capture those new millions of installs that might be coming in the longer the game stays out. Ooh, that's. I mean, it's crazy. It's business, but it's scummy. It is what it is.
Which is a very scummy move. So because of that, I believe they're going to stick with it.
It's scummy. Oh, it's so scummy,
y'all.
That
would have made them some short-term profits because they would get the fee from those games and many others that are already out. But of course, that would come at the very expensive cost of trust, which I believe would have possibly started Unity on a long-term downward spiral. However, I am very happy to have been wrong about that. As this update, the fee will only apply to games being made with the next LTS version of Unity. Also, with regards to the terms of service questions, as it says here, we will make sure you can stay on the terms applicable for the version of the Unity editor you're using. So the TOS is now per version and it stays fixed to that Unity version. And they are also republishing the GitHub repository, so you can now come here to track any changes in the TOS. So I'm very happy to see them willing to sacrifice short-term profits in order to do the right thing. This was really the
You see it right here, guys. You see it right here. Unless you choose to upgrade them to this new version of Unity, switch your games to an older LTS, or at least, I guess, the current version that we're on right now. Granted, I haven't opened. Well, I opened. Let me tell y'all what's funny. The Udemy course that I'm taking for Unity and C++ to like make games to kind of get your muscle memory. They had me to go back to the archives to download the LTS of 2019 because that's what they used during the course. So in order for me to follow along with the course, I was able to go back and download an older version of it. So they kind of said it here. That might be the loophole. That might be the loophole right there. All right.
The main sticking point for a lot of people. So now I do question if this will help in regaining trust in the eyes of those people. Maybe, maybe not. Basically now as a developer you have a choice. You can choose what terms you want to stick to. For example, if you look at all of the other changes and you still dislike the fee, you can stick with Unity 22 LTS and you will never pay any fee anything. That's the current LTS. For example, that's the version that I'm using in my own game. The LTS versions are supported for 2 years, and after that, it's not like things stop working. So technically, if you really dislike the proposed fee, but you still really like the engine, then you can keep using it until 2025 and way beyond without any new terms placed upon you. This is a really excellent thing, which should hopefully regain some trust and give some much needed assurance to people making games with Unity on a multi-year timeline.
You know what's crazy? On one hand, it's a good thing that they rolled this back a bit and actually thought about it. It's like, oh man, we're about to lose a lot of people that support this game engine. But on the opposite side of that, the trust has been broken. The damage has already been done. So, kind of like I said in my previous video, I feel like the people that's really going to be sticking with Unity are going to be like the studios that are more established, that probably have a team of 7 to 10 people, mid-sized studios that's actively have seen success in, our industry, that actually have money to spend like that. They actually have the budget to spend. So, but at the same token, people that, the brackies of the community that have been making Unity videos for decades and then some, those are the most valuable people that you're losing. But I don't know. You never know. People can change their minds. So we'll see. But I think the damage has already been done. I think as a company, before rolling out these types of changes, and granted, I understand they are a public company. They are a public company, so they have shareholders to appease, and they got to pay back the shareholders, and make some money off of it. At the same token, I think with them coming out, I think they should have thought about all of the possibilities of everything that's happening before rolling this out. I really do think that they should have did a better job of really breaking down and explaining things before making that huge announcement of, hey, oh, by the way, this is happening in January, with the type of wording that they put out. But now they realize, oh snap, we just pissed off like half of the indie games industry. Let's change. Let's roll back some stuff. Let's take back some stuff. It's too late. If Unity would have came out and presented it to us like this from jump, I think it wouldn't have been as bad. But I think it's too late. It's a little bit too late. You got other people already saying, after they complete whatever projects that they're working on in Unity, they're going to be going to Unreal or going to other different game engines. So I think it's a little bit too late for that.
And this is also a very good thing because it means they now have a very clear, very strong incentive to make future versions of the engine as awesome as possible. Obviously, they want very successful games to be made with a version that has this fee, so they need to make future versions of the engine super awesome in order to convince those people to upgrade and get on the new terms. Now, for indies like myself, since the fee will never apply because none of my games will ever make 1 million, for me I don't really need much convincing to upgrade, but for devs like Genshin Impact and Marvel Snap, for those hyper-successful games the fee will be a decent amount, so it's going to require adding some really awesome features to the engine to make those devs feel like the upgrade is indeed worth the fee. That very clear incentive is a very positive thing for literally every developer of every size that uses Unity, so that makes me very excited about the upcoming Unite conference. So yep, just this one change is huge, and like I said, I was really very shocked. I genuinely did not expect this to happen. I'm very happy to see them willing to sacrifice short-term profits in order to do the right thing for the long term.
Hold on, I didn't see this part down here. For games that are subject to a runtime fee, we are giving you a choice of either a 2.5 revenue share or the calculated amount based on the number of new people. So this will be Genshin Impact, Marvel Snap, people engaging with your game each month.
Now, I'm very curious to see the response to this. If you yourself are one of the people who had decided that you were completely done with Unity, that trust had been completely broken, if that's you, then my question to you is, does this change anything? Do you still plan to quit Unity, or does this provide enough assurance for you to continue using it? I'm really very curious to see the response to this one change. I'm recording this as soon as the blog post went live, so I haven't seen it.
I think for me, for the purposes of money that I've invested to learn a game engine and stick to it and make a project, I think for now, I think I'm going to stick with Unity. I'm going to stick with Unity for now. And, you know, if I'm one of the ones that do see success and make over $200,000 up to $1 million, then I don't think I'm over here thinking, I'm being real. Depending on I guess it will depend on the game. But I really don't see myself making a game that's, well, I don't know. I don't know what the future holds, but as of right now, because I done already invested time and money into learning Unity, I think I'm gonna stick with Unity for now. But mama didn't raise no fool. I'm gonna still be learning a game engine off on the side. Okay? I would suggest y'all do the same too. Because at the end of the day, like, when you have a business or you're building a business and you're trying to run a business, you're gonna be paying something at some point. So it's kind of one of those, I don't know how I make it make sense in my head, quality over quantity type things. And it's like I said, it's just, you know, different strokes for different folks, right? But for me, I think I'm gonna probably stick with it only for the sake of, I didn't spend a lot of money investing in myself to learn Unity, to learn C#, at least the basic foundations of it.
Anyone else's reactions. However, that's really just the main positive change, but there are several other positive ones. Thankfully, it looks like they're actually implementing literally all of the things that I suggested, although I really don't want to take any personal credit for that. Everything that I suggested comes from reading all the feedback in the community, everything that all of you said. I've read all of the literally thousands of comments on my videos, as well as thousands of tweets, forum, and Reddit posts. So what I posted, that was definitely an amalgamation of everything that I read. I've definitely spent way too much time trying to follow this whole thing. Making progress on my own game has been quite a bit slower because of that. Anyway, so one of the main things they implemented is a simple 2.5% revenue cap. The main comparison is in Real, which has 5%, so this is a great deal. And this one very simple change means that all of those apocalyptic scenarios where the fee ends up being literally more money than the game made, with this one change that is no longer possible. And note how this number is a cap, meaning this is going to be the absolute maximum, meaning that the fee for the games that do apply, it will always be guaranteed to be less than this amount. So for example, those games that have millions of downloads and almost no revenue, they will no longer go bankrupt because of the fee. Absolute worst case scenario, they pay 2.5%, but in most cases they're going to pay less than that. Also related to that is, what about all of the per install nonsense? all the issues with reinstalls, piracy, multi-device, and so on. Thankfully for this is all going to be based on self-reported data, meaning you do not need to trust Unity's super special hidden algorithm for counting installs or anything. The developers give them the numbers, and they just do some simple math based on that. And all of the confusion with regards to the word installs, which really makes no sense in premium games, now that very clearly means number of units sold. Now instead of the word installs, the word that they're using is initial engagements. So on free-to-play games, those are unique downloads. And for people like myself selling games on Steam, this really just means sales.
Okay. Yeah, because this is what I want to see right here. Let's see. In practice, we do not expect most customers to measure initial engagements directly, but to estimate them by using readily available data. The most appropriate approach to use will depend on your game and your distribution platforms. Here are some examples of metrics that we recommend. Number of units sold for a game with an upfront payment. Using the number of units sold is an acceptable estimate. Subtracting the units where the end user requested a refund can make the estimate even more accurate. Okay. First time user download for a game with no upfront payment, so this would be the demos and such. Distributors often provide the number of distinct user accounts that downloaded a game for the first time. This is also an acceptable estimate. It is an event that typically occurs only once for each user.
They define here in the FAQ what exactly is an initial engagement, and all the various things that don't count. So it does not matter how many times a person installs or reinstalls. It does not count when people pirate your game. It does not count refunds. One copy sold just counts as one for counting the fee amount. Again, obviously only if you are above the threshold, or if you don't even want to deal with any of this at all, you don't have to, you can just pay 2.5% and that's it, no worries. So this is yet another really positive change. So with this...
So basically that one-time fee. Yeah, I mean, I feel like I think Steam does that, where like right off the bat, they just take their money or whatever that percentage is. I don't know exactly what it is per se because I have not created my Steam page yet, but it's just like, we're gonna take our money off top and then bye.
My question is, will they require all developers to self-report some data, even for example the ones that are clearly below the threshold? Like in my example, none of my games will ever make $1 million and sell 1 million copies, so do I still have to send my stats? It seems that's not clear at this point, but either way, this is a very positive change. Very positive to be able to let developers self-report. This means that Unity is now trusting the developers to be honest. The developers do not have to trust Unity at all. That's huge. Changes with regards to Unity Personal. This is the free license. Previously, you needed to upgrade from Personal to Plus once you had 100k in revenue or funding, whereas now, since Plus is gone, you only need to upgrade to Pro when you are above 200k. So that's literally a doubling of revenue. There's no need to pay for anything at all until you already have a pretty successful game. And just in case it wasn't clear, there is no runtime fee on Personal. So you could make a completely free game, get 1 billion downloads, and you wouldn't have to pay Unity 1 cent. Even when you upgrade to Pro, there's still no fee until you have made 1 million in the last 12 months and have sold 1 million copies. And yet another very positive change, and one that people have wanted for literally years. You can now remove the Made with Unity splash screen. Previously, there were people who only paid for Unity Plus just to remove the splash screen and nothing else. And with the removal of Plus, those people would have had to pay $2,000 for Pro just to remove that splash screen. So thankfully, you can now stick with the completely free personal version and just remove it. There's no need to pay for anything. Something that was hugely missing from the initial announcement was just a simple calculator, so thankfully they do have one now. And again, like it says here, no games created with any currently supported Unity versions are impacted this. This is just to calculate what the fee might be for future games on the future terms. And the calculator is really pretty easy to use. So starting on Unity Personal, so the free version. Very simple questions. Does your business revenue exceed 200k? Nope. Is your game created with 2023 LTS or later? Nope. Then yep, runtime fees do not apply. Now if you upgrade to 23 LTS next year, if you go to yes, then nope, runtime fees still do not apply, so there are no fees on the personal plan, and the personal plan has a revenue limit of 200k, so if you do get over 200k, then you need to upgrade to Unity Pro, so let's see Unity Pro. Again, simple questions, and again, keep in mind these conditions are an and, So if you're using Unity Pro, but under
Okay.
1 million revenue and 1 million downloads and not using 23, then again, no runtime fee. Even if you make above 1 mil and get above 1 million downloads, if you don't use 23 LTS, nope, there's no fee. And if you do use the 23 LTS, let's see. So let's say, for example, my upcoming game, Dinky Guardians, let's say by some miracle the game sells 1 million copies. The game is going to be $15, so 1 million copies would be 15 million in gross revenue. Then let's say after selling those 1 million copies, let's say the next month I sell 100,000 copies more. So 100,000 copies would be an extra 1.5 mil. So with that month, with those 1.5 million revenue, I would end up paying 10 grand, which equals to 0.72. Now let's see those examples where easily a developer could go bankrupt if you had hundreds of millions of installs but barely any revenue.
Right.
So let's put this to the max. So let's say for a free-to-play game, after having 1 million installs and 1 million in revenue, let's say you get 1 million new installs per month, and for some reason those installs don't monetize, so let's say you just make $100 out of that 1 mil, then the total would be just $3, which caps at 2.5%. The question is, do these changes convince those people who had completely given up on Unity or not? This whole saga kind of reminds me of Cyberpunk. That was a game that was completely broken at launch for so many people, it was a huge disaster. But now the first DLC is finally coming out and reviews are all excellent, both for the DLC and the updates to the game itself. So that makes me wonder if the same thing could happen with Unity. Could they wow people with future versions of the engine?
It's possible. This has been a video, you guys. Like codemonkey said, with them now rolling back some things, or should I say, explaining things a little bit better. Does this change if you're gonna be still using Unity or not? For me, for the time being, because I'm already invested into Unity, I will be using Unity until otherwise. But at the same token, like I said, mama didn't raise no fool. I'm gonna be learning also another game engine alongside of that. But also too, you guys, like when you reach certain milestones and certain levels in your life, when you see success, you're gonna be paying something. You know what I mean? So but this, it makes it a little bit better. It puts, I guess I would say it put the current developers who are making projects at a little bit of ease right now. But like I said, it looked like it's really going to affect the people that is making over $1 million and then some. Or if you're unhappy with it for whatever reason, go to a different game engine. Invest in Godot. Invest in your other open source game engines if you're unhappy with Unity or Unreal or whatever. If you're unhappy, why stay in that relationship? But anywho, this has been a video. Let me know your thoughts down below. Does this change for you? My indie game studios, my solo well, really, I want to hear from really my solo devs and my smaller indie game studios. Does this rollback change your plans for the future with Unity? Did you change your mind after they done properly explain what they should have did in the first doggone place before making that announcement? Let me know. If you like the video, drop a like, subscribe. Until then, I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.